Hey YouTube, it's Mark here. Well, it's been 6 years, and I finally decided to actually film a video. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Well, anyway, I decided as a starter video I would show you guys my three Stooges films. I've been a fan of theirs for 5 years, and I've got about, pretty much all of their movies, with a few exceptions. So, I thought I'd start out, in chronological order. I'll show you the first one is, we have to go all the way back to the Three Stooges Primordial Soup, and that happens to be Soup to Nuts from 1930. I got this from Amazon.com, and it's their first film. It's got a Shemp in it. Actually, a lot of people don't know that he was the original third Stooge until the Ted Healy guy that they had to work with. He kind of antagonized Shemp, so he had to skedaddle. So Curly took over, and then when Curly got sick, Shemp came back. So it's a historical film, if nothing else. It's not hilarious, but it's got its moments, like any Three Stooges film. And up next is this, one of the most recent ones that I bought. It's from the Archive collection from Warner Brothers. Classic Shorts from the Dream Factory. It's got all of the Ted Healy MGM films. I really bought this for, what is it? Yeah, Hello Pop. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not very well. But it was thought long lost. People thought it was burned in a fire years ago, but it turned up in Australia, so when it came to DVD, I had to buy it. And I had the other shorts that are on this: Plain Nuts, Roast Beef and Movies, The Big Idea, Nursery Rhymes. But I bought this again for an upgrade because they're better quality than the ones that I had. So, yeah, there you have it. There's that one. Okay, so up next is this public domain one. Let me try to fix that. Okay, I got this from a pawn shop about 5 years ago. I don't even think it's Platinum Releasing. It's a public domain thing. La Crosse, Wisconsin. So anyway, this might be a little blurry. It's my first video, sorry if there's any blunders. But yeah, so I was really excited to find this when I did. It has a lot of their Ted Healy shorts, some cartoons, and a couple of Shemp solo shorts. The Shemp shorts are the only reason I still have this collection, because they're kind of hard to find. They might be on a DVD somewhere though. This one I don't really need anymore. It's from Goodwill for $2. Yeah, so it's just got a couple of Ted Healy shorts. And then one thing you're going to notice watching this video is I have a lot of doubles. If I have a movie on one collection, it's probably going to be on another collection somewhere. And that's because these DVDs are really strange. You get one, it'll have something, and you're going to have to buy it again, to get a different film that you needed. So that's just the way collecting goes. So, I've got like probably 3 copies of some of these Ted Healy shorts already, because there's something else on the DVD that I needed. Okay, so up next is Gold Raiders and Meet the Baron. Meet the Baron is actually a pretty good movie. It's got Jimmy Durante in it, and the Three Stooges are actually janitors at a girls' college. So there's a couple of funny scenes, like involving the shower, and they're trying to clean it, and they're watching all the girls in the shower, and it's pretty humorous. And this one is Gold Raiders, the Shemp film. It's basically just a western with the Three Stooges. It doesn't do a lot for me. It's alright, but it's not my favorite. Then we have The Dancing Lady. I bought this. Actually, I almost had to order it, but I found it at I think a Waterloo, and it was $8. I was really excited to find it. It's got Clark Gable and Joan Crawford, and the Three Stooges play probably. Now they're not janitors in this one. I think they're actually musicians or something. And Ted Healy is still with them at this point. And this one is Hollywood Party. I think this was the last one that Ted Healy was in, and this movie is actually pretty funny. It's sort of like you watch this and it's almost like you're at one of those parties. I don't know how to explain it, but that's just the way I feel. And it's actually pretty risque. There might be a little nudity in this. And this is Jimmy Durante's in this one also. And yeah, that's basically the end of the Ted Healy years. So up next, I'm going to talk about the volumes collections. Columbia Pictures started putting out the Three Stooges collections, volumes 1 through 8. And so this one is just the first one, 1934 to 1936. This is where the Three Stooges finally got their own contract with Columbia. And they started doing some pretty funny shorts. I got this stupid strap out of the way. Well, anyway, the volume 2 is 1937 to 39. And that's where they really started to hit their stride, most people say, and I agree. There's a lot of great shorts on here. I'm not going to go through every one of them, but, something like Cash and Carry. They're trying to break through the vault to get all the money out of it. It's pretty good. And then Volume 3, you continue with the Three Stooges Golden Years. And that's 1940 to 1942. A lot of great good ones on here, too. That one where Curly's a plumbing wheel will go. That's a great one. So then you got Volume 4. This is the War Years, 1943 to 45. And this is where they start to go downhill for me. The war ones are funny, but it kind of gets repetitive. They're either fighting the Japanese or they're fighting Nazis, and that's how it is over and over again. And they're funny, but it gets a little old. And this is also where Curly starts to get sick around the end of 1945. That's where you start to tell that he wasn't doing too good. So then we get into 1946 to 48, Volume 5. And yeah, Curly's not doing too good here. You can tell. Just look at his face. It's not good. And maybe it's a little ghoulish to try to get a good picture of his sick face, but I mean, look at him. Well, so anyway, he was losing a lot of weight by this time, and he had more strokes. And so he had to be replaced in 1946, I think, by Shemp. And then you get a few good Shemp ones on here. And that continues to Volume 6, from 1949 to 51. And this is probably the best of Shemp. He really gets pretty funny around this part, and it's a shame that there weren't many more with him. Around that time in where is it? Oh, I'm sorry, can't seem to find okay, there it is. Volume 7 is where they started doing all these stock footage ones, and Columbia Pictures was really running out of money by this point. But there's still a couple of good ones on here. This is where they had those 3D shorts, and this collection actually does come with a couple of 3D glasses. You might be, but I didn't really care for them that much because they're kind of like pink and green, and it just didn't look right on the film. It didn't really pop out too well, and it was all blurry, and it was just terrible. But they're still funny shorts, and so around 1942 and 43, 52 and 53. They started doing all these stock footage ones. Oh, and by the way, I think the re-release of these DVDs, they don't include the 3D glasses, so this might be a collector's item. So anyway, they started doing these stupid stock footage ones. They had to borrow a lot of footage, basically. And then that brings us to Volume 8. Joe Besser. Shemp had died in 1955 after filming Blunder Boys a couple of weeks after filming Blunder Boys. And I think he had like a really sudden heart attack. So they had to bring in whoever they could find, and that happened to be Joe Besser. And he just does not... The general consensus is he doesn't really fit in with the humor of the Three Stooges. He was a funny guy, but he just didn't work as a stooge. And I agree. You watch those, and it's just nothing like the original Curly ones, or even the Shemp ones. But anyway, that brings us to this one. The Three Stooges Rare Treasures from the Columbia Vault. And this features a couple of films that I didn't have. Rockin' in the Rockies, Have Rocket Will Travel, which happens to be the first Curly Joe Three Stooges film. And there's also a couple of things like Shemp Howard shorts, solo shorts, and Joe Besser solo shorts, and even a couple of Curly Joe solo shorts. And I had to buy this with this other giant collection that I'll show later. the Ultimate Collection, and I had to buy it because it didn't come separately, and this is the only way to get it. So now I have like 2 copies each of the volumes. So in case something happens to the other ones, I guess I'll have those as backup. So I guess before I get on with the other curly ones, I'll talk about a couple other random public domain ones. This weird one's like the 75th anniversary thing. I only bought it for Jerk of All Trades, which is their like 1949 TV pilot, which was canceled because Harry Cohn didn't like them to be on TV while they were still making shorts. So they couldn't be on TV, basically. And, where is that other one? Okay, this one, it's a live episode of the Ed Wynn Show with, Shemp in it and the other Stooges. And it's pretty funny. It is what it is. So then we've got the other Curly Joe films. I guess I'll start out with their first one, which is, their second one after Rockin' in the Rockies, or Have Rocket Will Travel, I should say. Their next one was Snow White and the Three Stooges. To tell you the truth, this is probably my least favorite one. But, as a completist, I needed it. So I bought it for $6 at a CD exchange. And I later sent the cover to Carol Heiss Jenkins. And she played Snow White in the film. Don't tell her I don't like the movie. But she was kind enough to sign the cover for me. And then next we've got Three Stooges Meet Hercules. I think this was in 1961. And it's probably their biggest budget one, to tell you the truth. It's not the funniest, but they travel back to ancient Greece and they have all these epic battles. And they meet Hercules, of course. And it's pretty funny. It's a well-made film, basically. And then there's Three Stooges in Orbit. I believe that one came next. They're fighting these space aliens. And it's not the best film ever. Yeah. But it was the first Curly Joe film that I got to see. Actually, this is my favorite Curly Joe film. The Three Stooges go around the world in a daze. Yeah, it's basically just to take off on the Jules Verne film. Novel. And they have a lot of funny situations. And then I think this was. Let me get to these first. Four for Texas. They only have a cameo appearance in this, and it's not the greatest either. I know I say that a lot, but it's not. I don't even consider it a Three Stooges film. It's just Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra in the Old West, and you might enjoy this if you're some drunk guy, watching this on your TV set some night. But I didn't care for it. It's a mad, 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 mad world. They're in this for like 3 seconds. But it's a really funny film. Yeah. There's a giant cast of characters. And it's probably one of the most expensive comedies ever made. And so if nothing else, you get to see the Three Stooges for a few seconds. Okay, so anyway, this was their last Curly Joe film for Columbia. I think it was their last Columbia picture at all, to tell you the truth. And you probably can't see it. Oh, by the way, it's The Outlaws is coming. You probably can't tell, but if I can get it into focus. Now, it's going to be really hard to see, but I got it signed by Adam West. I sent it to him, and he sent it back, but he tore the cover quite a bit. I don't know if you can see that, but he almost tore it straight in half. I don't think I showed you this one. I must have left that off to the side for some reason. It's Swing Parade. I think this was the first Stooges film I ever saw. I only bought it because I was a big fan of Mystery Science Theater, and they have this thing called riff tracks where they dub their voices over the film. Well, they don't really dub it, but, they do a commentary over it. And this did not make me a Stooges fan. It wasn't until about a year later that I actually started collecting their films. But this isn't a great movie, but it's fun to see for the commentary by the Mystery Science Theater guys. So if you get a chance, you can pick that one up. Okay, so this is a pretty recent one that came out. It's a Three Stooges complete cartoon collection. It's got all 156 cartoons and all 40 of their live action shorts. The cartoons aren't really the best, but, if you gotta have every Three Stooges thing ever made, like I do, because I'm crazy like that, it's worth watching. So then we get to their last movie they ever made, and it's Kook's Tour, and it's only like 50 minutes long, and they're just a couple of old guys sitting on a boat, camping is basically what they do. And again, I only bought this collection because it had that in it. And it's a really cheesy public domain collection, but it had one thing that I needed, so I bought it. I don't know if they do that on purpose, because they have nothing else to offer, so they get one great thing and then fill the rest with crap to make you buy it. But that could be possible. And it's got a little voice box, which appears to be broken. Yep, it's broken. What do you expect? Okay, so this doesn't really count. It's the Three Stooges, the movie. Obviously the Three Stooges aren't in it, but it's where they got those other guys, Will Sasso and, whoever those other guys are. And yeah, I think the guy who played Moe did a pretty good job. That's all I gotta say about this movie. Other than that, it's not great. Okay, so this one is actually pretty unique. I was rummaging through some old family heirlooms, and I guess the Three Stooges fan, being a Three Stooges fan runs in the family, because this was in one of our boxes. It's like a silent edition of We Want Our Mummy. I don't have a projector, but it would be fun to see what kind of, intertitles they put on this. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool. They made these silent ones for people without, sound on their projectors. I don't even know if it works, but I'm keeping it just for a keepsake. This is an old tape of Three Stooges Go Around in the World in a Daze. I decided to pick it up because I didn't have it on DVD at the time. I found it at the library for, I don't know, $1, maybe not even $1. But it works, except for like a little bit in the middle. But other than that, it worked pretty good. Okay, so here's that Ultimate collection I was telling you guys about. It's all dusty now. The one that I only bought for that Rare Treasures DVD. But inside is brand new. Volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. They're all in there. And they're not open at all. But I'll keep them just in case something happens. I'm that much of a screwball. And so that brings us to our last one. This is an interesting documentary that was made by Paul Howard. That's Moe's son. It's like a 9-part show. It's got like Whoopi Goldberg and the guy from Futurama. I can't remember his name. He does Fry's voice. So they just basically talk about the life of the Stooges and from them growing up in Brooklyn and getting to Hollywood and then their later years too. I can't seem to open it. But it came with a lot of these old reprint things of like old material, like the alphabet song and like a comic book and like even a script to Uncivil Warriors and like a lot of other cool stuff too. I'm not going to go through all of it, but like pictures and postcards and stuff like that. But anyway, that is it. I am sorry if I'm not a very good filmmaker, but I am not. And I'm probably not a very good narrator either, but it's my first video, so I'm learning, and I decided to show you guys this, and if it's any good, if you guys want to see more of my DVDs, I collect a lot of stuff. As you can see by this junk heap in my room, there's DVDs all over the place. They keep telling me to go digital, but that's not going to happen. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you enjoyed watching my Three Stooges DVDs. I enjoyed watching them. And I kind of enjoyed making this video. So anyway, take care, and I'll see you on the next video whenever